Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Now that the dust has settled from the Tampa audio show, wanted to circle back with the hottest topic, for me at least, ever since Capital Audio Fest, which was the Theoretic Applied Physics Bacch-SP and the Bacch4Mac that I actually bought. The product that, if you're not familiar with it and haven't been following along, really creates a new level of three-dimensional sound and is a paradigm-shifting product. Everybody that's come out here and demoed it thinks it's a game changer, a must-have. I don't want to color your impressions on the sound stuff, because really all you need to do is come over here and do a demo. And I am scheduling demos because I became, if you watched my video before, a home dealer for it. This video is not to talk more about the sound impressions. I've released some shorts of people in the room that have come in for demos, showing you what their impressions are. But like I said, nothing speaks louder than you being in the chair and hearing for yourself. I really can't describe it, what it does. But basically, in short, for those little bit interested in the tech, you're basically canceling out interaural crosstalk. So from whatever your right ear hears from your left speaker and vice versa are things that corrupt imaging, and has traditionally led us to a heavily dense phantom center image, which really doesn't extract a lot of information that's on the recording in terms of venues, spatial cues. And if you can get rid of that, which some people have tried in the past, Carver, Polk, and much more primitive iterations, without the technology, hardware, processing power, algorithms that we have now. They've done it with limited success in the past. This one is finally a game changer with no really equal or competition. And again, the biggest litmus test here is to listen for yourself. But what I wanted to do, since I have quite a few people now emailing me, asking questions, and also a lot of people on order with me that are waiting for it and will be waiting for it, that order from me, I wanted to create a video that would acquaint you with the GUI interface and just a little bit of tips that I went through, learning curve, to understand the product, such that while you're waiting for it to come in or considering ordering it, that this doesn't look so intimidating. And again, I'm going to jump in my chair. I know you can't see this real well. I'm going to screen record in a second so you can see this really clear. But I wanted to give this a little preview. I'm going to jump in my chair, give you a little overview. And again, if you want to be wowed, schedule a demo with me. In the description, I'll have links to how to email me. If you want to buy the product, I have a link page where you can buy the Bacch4Mac. You have to contact me directly for the all-in-one Bach solutions. Just a real quick overview on that. The Bacch4Mac is a product that gives you the same results as the Bach solution, all-in-one Bach solutions, the Bacch-SP and audio. It doesn't come with a DAC, but you get a Mac Mini and an RME Babyface and the software. And it's a little more for people that don't mind interfacing with computers and that level of nuance in terms of setup and day-to-day kind of maintenance, just because you're dealing with Apple and an RME and it's not all in one box. That's a little more complex than the all-in-one box, which is the traditional product that they've offered and what I normally recommend if it's in your budget. But price point for the trade-off, price point's pretty nice of the Bacch4Mac. So what I'm going to go through today is mainly the Bacch4Mac screen. Things are going to transfer for almost all the Bach products, though. So this will give you at least a good taste overview. Feel free to ask me questions, email me. But I'm going to have a series of videos and go further and further in the weeds as we go, as well as have a Zoom with Edgar, who's super impressive and can really tell you, for those people that want to know a lot of details. So without further ado, let me jump in my chair, screen record, and walk through some fun stuff. Okay guys, what you're looking at is the GUI interface for the Bacch4Mac. Now it's going to be similar for all the products. The other all-in-one box will come with an iPad, and it's a dedicated iPad that you can use with the interface screen and anything you need to do to set it up initially. So there's a little bit of difference depending on what product, but I've just got it on my screen right now because you can export from the Mac Mini to HDMI anywhere. And so I'm showing you on the screen. If you have a home theater, you can do it there. But what I wanted to do is walk you through, get you comfortable. You're going to have a walkthrough session when you buy this. Everything I'm covering here is going to be covered in detail and more. But this will be a good reference after that first session. You ever want to go back, or if you're on order and you're excited, you want to kind of get already ready to go, this will walk you through and be a little less intimidating, because I know this screen may look intimidating. Trust me, guys, you're only going to be touching a few buttons, and it's only going to be mainly that initial setup day, and probably never touch it again. But I'm going to walk you through it just to show you some things, and things that you may touch in the future, but things you probably never touch, and just get you acquainted with some extra value-added things of the product that I didn't even realize. So without further ado, first things first, is up in this corner is a screen, and there's also on this right side the webcam where it'll calibrate. Right now it says tracking loss, and it's always going to be giving you feedback on what's going on. But you can see my hand here. If I was sitting in my listening chair, it would pick up my head and create a crosshair here and let me know that it's tracking my head. And then you have some ability to center it and zoom it in so that the camera, if you can't get it totally centered, you can get that calibrated. And that's a pretty minor, easy setup, and they'll walk you through that part. Then once your head is framed properly, and you don't have to do head tracking. That's an added service that it offers. If you're uncomfortable with the camera watching you, you can turn that off. It still works. It just won't capture every little movement and a wide range of keeping that binaural crosstalk algorithm perfect for whether your location. But in any case, most people keep it on. The next thing you're going to do is use these bins to save measurement sweeps with what also comes with the product is binaural mics that go in each ear. And these don't look like much, but these are flat to 20 hertz. And I think the pro models are what people like David Chesky now are using with their binaural recordings. Actually, Edgar's on the credits for a lot of the binaural recordings that David Chesky's doing now. And those are almost like cheating with this software. Those are going to be amazing, the amount of spatial cues that you can extract when it's recorded binaurally. And YouTube has tons of those recordings as well. So again, you're going to get a lot of value of content that's amazing outside of your streaming, which will be cool as it is. But in any case, these mics are very precise, and you're going to put them in your ear. Right is always red. So, and then you clip it on your things to relieve the stress, and you put them in pretty much flush, perpendicular to the wall, so that they're both equidistant inside your ears. And then you're going to press a few buttons. You're going to choose a bin first, whichever bin you want for your measurements. You choose a bin like I've got here. You got 3 bins. And you also have bypass. So while you're playing a filter, you can hit bypass while it's playing and hear with it on and off. Blind testing is encouraged with this product. Unlike anything else in audiophilia, the blind testing is encouraged, as I've mentioned. But anyway, once you've got the mics set in your ears, you're going to do a simple couple button push. You're going to arm the system, telling it to get ready for doing the measurements. And then if you want head tracking or not, you choose head tracking here. I click this button here. And then you do fire. And then when I say fire, a guy's voice will come on, tell you to put your head in the middle, right here in the screen. And it'll go whoop, whoop, left and right channel. Then you're going to move your body to the left as far as you want in the chair or the range to be. Whoop, whoop, you're done. Then to the right. Whoop, whoop, you're done. It's going to even give you the brackets of where your head should be. Your face will always be in there and showing you if it's tracking you or not tracking you properly. Even in low light, it works. In my home theater, when I turn off all the lights, it still tracks me perfectly. And then it'll save measurements in these bins. It'll process it. And I'll jump ahead to the measurements because this is a lot of a value-added tool that'll help you regardless if you use the filter or not. You're obviously going to use the filter. Almost nobody won't. But there's value added to telling you a lot about your room and your system independent of the Bach filter that you can improve on. And I spent a lot of time just redoing my room treatments and all based on now having the ability to get in-ear binaural measurements at my listening position. How many people have that ability? And that's powerful because those mics that you do for REW measurements or Dirac, those are usually 1 point. They're not where both of your ears are. They don't take into account head shadow effect, the shape of your ears. And what's been really a value added, I'll start off, is this frequency response here. It'll give you the frequency response that it measured. And you may notice here this little hump and this hump here. If I took those binaural mics out of my ear and just held them like this and did the frequency sweep, my system is pretty much flat all the way across. And that's what Dirac or REW or whatever would tell you is what you want. But what this actually tells you is that your ears now are modulating a flat frequency response to something closer to this. And so my ears are a little more sensitive and amplifying in this range, and dip here and here. Minor, not really that audible, but it's very valuable because what we've been able to do, same gear, same listening position, other people have come in and done their measurements, and they have different impact from their ear and their frequency response. So it kind of gives you an indication of why sometimes we hear differently. We go into 2 rooms at a show. Our ears may give a different frequency response interpretation than theirs does, just because of shape of ear, head shadow effect, how you sit up in the chair, down. Little things make a big difference. And so even with this impulse response, I'll show you this as well. You could tell a lot about the room. Edgar can look at these measurements and tell about reflections. He was very impressed with my impulse response here because this magnitude is it's like it start, stop, should have really good transient response. The only thing he said is I have one little reflection right here, very small in magnitude, but it nevertheless is one that we can do some experiments and try to even eliminate that reflection. And this gives a tremendous value for knowing your transient response and be able to identify things with your room treatments that you can improve on. And then this main graph up here is crosstalk cancellation per channel. So it looks wavy, and that's totally normal, because what it's doing is saying for each frequency and how your room is reacting and your ears are getting the channel information, it's calculating how the algorithm needs to apply crosstalk cancellation, and it'll calculate values per side, left and right. And so these are good values that give you a lot of good spatial cues. So again, each room will be different. Each speaker system will be different. Almost everything, even omnidirectional speakers, he's got clients with that it works on. The more, though, that you're listening to your speakers versus your room, the better the delta and what can be improved. But pretty much everybody, no matter what, has had some level of success and improvement. But that's just one of the variables that go into it. And getting this information can lead to, even without the Bach, improving your room treatments and your room response such that you can get better measurements to your ear that translate to your enjoyment. So that was a big added value. Now, the other thing that only other thing you may touch, and certainly on the first day you'll touch, is this audio settings here. That is the initial setup to your DAC and sample rate and stuff. Now, one thing you'll notice is a lot of things on this screen are yellow and then have like a green highlight around it, because it's basically policing itself and giving you indication of anything that's out of parameter. The yellows are mostly the defaults, the things that should be turned on. So even if you click something by mistake, it'll let you know, because something will turn red if it's not one of the defaults or recommended settings. It doesn't mean you can't do that to try things and play around, but it's very easy to know what the defaults are, because he's put them all in red. And then on top of that, anything out of parameter is a red, is green if it's right, red if it's intentionally being manipulated differently, or it's a troubleshooting thing. And so I'll show you one of the few troubleshooting things you're going to have with any USB connection. Sometimes, depending on which thing powers up first, your DAC or your Mac Mini or the device, sometimes the handshake isn't there and the connection isn't good with USB devices. So occasionally, depending on your DAC and how well it's got a USB interface to the Bach product, you're going to have some troubleshooting to make sure that they're connected. And one of the other screens you'll have is this MIDI screen that'll come up. And you'll always want to make sure that your DAC and the Bacch4Mac is got control of the output and the recorder. And as long as you look at that, that's all you need to do for troubleshooting. If that's part one of any troubleshooting. The other thing you're going to do in terms of auto configuring everything, if you ever lose configuration from that first day, you just choose right up here, auto configure, and I'm going to even do it for you right now, show you how simple it is to reconfigure everything if anything becomes disjointed or not connected. I'm choosing my DAC and the Bacch4Mac setting that was set up. It'll pop up on the screen. The baby face will go through recalibrating everything, syncing with my DAC, and I'll basically troubleshoot it from the start again. And one thing that you'll notice is this turned red real quick. It went because it wasn't synced totally yet. Once it's synced, it turned green. And here's one thing that a preference that he offers. Again, it's turned green at 44.1. He recommends the sample rate be changed to 96,000. And so you hit the sync button there, and as it does it, it goes from red and it'll sync with your DAC. You'll see it in a second, turns green. You're basically back to where you were if anything goes wrong. So these are the only buttons you're ever going to have to realistically push. In future videos, I'll get into the weeds because some of these I haven't even dealt with yet. And I want to get into it at some point. And I'm going to have a Zoom with Edgar who can really go into the weeds. But really, a lot of this stuff is not even necessary. And it's only going to be for really high-end users that want to play around in the weeds. But if you do play around and mess things up, you really can't. Again, you've got everything policing itself and telling you what the defaults are and how to start from scratch again. So that's kind of how easy it is. There's nothing intimidating here to worry about. So hopefully this is helpful. I'm going to have more videos in the future. So if you haven't signed up to subscribe already, do so, and I'll see you back here soon.